Hi, Leo Rising Sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 9th of February until the 15th of February. So, the very first up is a Mercury conjunction to Pallas Athene, and the Mercury runs into North Node as well. So, this is all happening in your eighth house. And the eighth house is connected to shared resources, transformation, going deep with something. So I can imagine you uncovering a pattern in your finances or in your partner's finances as well. And maybe that reveals something, maybe a way to clear your debt or to gain more money. I can imagine there is quite a lot of psychological breakthroughs that could be happening, especially in a therapy. Someone could be pointing out our patterns in our psychological reflections. Maybe this is helping you to understand the taboo part of your psyche. I can imagine you having a deep conversation with a partner, and that might reveal certain type of karmic connections or shared missions that you hadn't seen before. Or you might even start planning how to manage your resources for the run. Maybe you are focusing a little bit more on the passive or the fluid income. Or maybe you're doing a lot of research about astrology, metaphysical, occult studies, and that could be unlocking your own personal power. And hopefully, you choose me for that with this new membership program that I have created, and you can have a good 250 courses and webinars all together for viewing at any time. Now, next up is Sun in Aquarius in sextile to Chiron. So that's going to be triggering your seventh and ninth house. And there is a spouse or a business partner who provides potentially the missing piece to a philosophical puzzle, to a legal puzzle, something that you have been facing, so you can get a piece of advice from someone. Or maybe there's a contract negotiations going on and it's getting resolved, especially when you are leaning into personal values and not just like looking at the rules. Or maybe a partner who's encouraging you to return to school or let's travel, let's heal that wound. Why don't you feel intelligent enough? Or there could be a relational breakthrough as well, and that might be helping you to let go of a dogmatic belief system, something that has been holding your relationship back. And of course, this means that it could be happening to your partner as well, or you and your partner, or even a close ally. Kind of like we're gonna study together, we're gonna shift our worldviews, we're gonna travel somewhere together, which can bring improvements into your life. We also have got a Mars and Vesta conjunction happening in your seventh house as well. And that's very important because it's happening on the same day when Saturn moves into the ninth house. So Saturn is going to be moving in first, and then a few hours later, we've got the Mars and Vesta conjunction as well at the same time. And this is about a committed partnership. Vesta commits. And that might become a certain type of a vehicle for, let's say, a study plan or a long-term travel or even relocation. So you guys might be deciding to, let's say, I'm going to relocate to find love, or I'm going to be deciding to relocate because, let's say, my partner is going to get a job somewhere else, and so forth. You can get into some legal matters as well, and this might be something that is going to need to be focused on. You are focusing on the justice element here quite a lot, somehow defining your moral standing. It could be connected to partnership or it could be a legal system as well. Or maybe you and your partner decides to teach together, publish something together. Or I can even imagine that you review your primary relationship as a sacred contract. And we decide, we have a conversation about it, and we decide that we need certain type of discipline growth. Saturn is the planet of discipline growth. Or you might sign a contract, an international contract, for example. Or you might be thinking about how I can expand my business into more of a global market. Or you might have to be having conversations, kind of healing conversations, for example, with an enemy of yours, with a competitor as well. Or I can even imagine that you are ready to get married. And it feels like that this partner is kind of like a spiritual mission for you. Next up is Jupiter and Juno opposition. Now, this is happening in your 6th and 12th house. And Jupiter wants you to retreat a little bit. It wants you to focus on your inner growth. But it looks like you have got your daily work. You have got certain type of health matters that might be very demanding. I want to rest here, but me and my partner, for example, have to go to the gym. So I cannot rest as much as I would like to. Or you can be getting help, for example, but your coworkers or the daily stuff that you have require this very logical explanation, like how did that happen? Or I can imagine that you have got this desire to heal something on a soul level, but you kind of like understanding that every single, for example, medical matter has got its, psychological roots. But maybe you are being pushed towards something more traditional, and Jupiter might not like that. Or maybe you are even feeling that call to help others, kind of like in an invisible way. But Juno in Capricorn is like, I have to be sticking to the fine print. Or I can even imagine that you have got these big dreams, Jupiter in the 12. How am I going to make that like mundane? How am I going to be integrating that into my daily life? And we can be hesitant about that. Next up is Arachne, also entering your 6th house. And Arachne will be here until the end of the year. Remember, we also have got Nemesis here until the end of the year. So the 6th house for you, Leo, is pretty active. And this is about redesigning your work, maybe renewing, being very strategic about the way I work. It's kind of like you create a new filing system, for example, something that is going to bring more efficiency. Or maybe you have got a different approach to your physical body, and I'm going to be tracking things like diet, sleep, movements, a bit more data-driven precision here. Or you are ready to master a technical skill. And this is about figuring out certain type of knowledge, like does it work, does it not work, and so forth. And therefore, many people can be reliant on you. Or I can even imagine that certain type of mundane task, like routines, you're gonna be more kind of like dedicated towards it, and I'm gonna be, doing it at the same time, for example. Next up is Amor entering your 8th house. And of course, we have spoken about the 8th house already, but this is a moment of vulnerability, for example, with your partner, and which might be able to help you understand their psychological functioning. Maybe you are ready to forgive yourself for the old shadow traits or past mistakes as well. Maybe you are ready to forgive a partner of yours. Maybe a financial or a resource-based problem is solved through an act of trust or grace. Or you might even find deep spiritual connections while studying, something occult, the mysteries of life and death. And maybe you even realize that the true intimacy is about a soul merger, not just kind of like a physical contract. And last but not least, we've got asteroid Lilith entering the sign of Aries, which is your ninth house. And this is about rejecting a belief system, walking away from truth, walking away from dogmatic beliefs, and walking away from relying on the opinions of others, something that might have been forced on you. This is about you looking for your own wisdom. Therefore, it does represent bold exploration as well, because when I want to find something new, then I'm going to travel for it. And therefore, you are challenging the opinions of others, challenging the boundaries of others, because you might even feel a lot stronger. You might challenge a teacher, you might challenge the curriculum, something that might look intellectually too stiff. Maybe you are ready to speak your own truth, and you can be speaking your own truth in a wild way. You can be offending, that teacher, that guru, the establishment. So it can bring some argumentative situations also. Or you refuse to allow others to tell you how big your dreams should be or how I am meant to be thinking about certain things. So the summary for you, Leo, is there's a lot of ethical things going on right now. There's a lot of deep psychological or financial insights that you can be gaining, but it might be leading you towards a new worldview. I think you are going to be building a new belief system, and maybe that requires you to study something. And there is definitely a huge focus on partnership contracts. It's about defining what the rules are of our relationship, and it should be something that is going to allow you intellectual expansion. So good luck, Leo, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.